Gunther Padola was a burglar with a difference. Gunther Fritz Erwin Padola was born on the 8th of February 1929. He was a German-born petty thief, and the last man to be hanged in Britain for killing a police officer. Padola was born in Berlin, Germany. He was a fanatical member of the Hitler Youth movement. Padola moved to Canada in August 1952. On the 1st of March 1957 he was sentenced to 10 days imprisonment following a conviction for burglary in Montreal. Then on the 26th of March he was sentenced for another 11 counts of theft and burglary and imprisoned for 2 years. On the 25th of July 1958 Padola was released and deported back to West Germany. Padola moved to London on the 21st of May 1959. He assumed the alias of Mike Colato and pretended to be a gangster. He broke into the house of an American model, Vern Schiffman, and stole jewelry and furs worth £2,000. He tried to blackmail her in return for her possessions, asking for £500, but she notified the police who attempted to arrest Padola on the 12th of July 1959 in Kensington. Padola shot one of the officers, Detective Sergeant Raymond Purdy, in the heart with a pistol. He was later apprehended and Padola claimed he was beaten up by the police and that as a result he lost his memory of events. The police claimed that he was merely hit on the head when they broke down the door to his hotel room. Padola was not content with the £2,000 worth of furs and jewelry he stole from Mrs. Vern Schiffman's South Kensington flat. He then had the nerve to phone her. Posing as a private detective, he claimed he had photos and tape recordings placing her in a compromising situation, and he tried to blackmail her, demanding £500. She informed the police, and they tapped her phone. Next time he calls, detectives told her, "Keep him talking. We'll see if we can trace where he's phoning from." When the blackmailer rang again on July 13, 1959, his call was traced to a South Kensington kiosk where he was arrested by 2 detectives. He broke free and made a dash for it, but was recaptured shortly afterwards when he was cornered on a windowsill in the hallway of a block of flats. One of the detectives went to phone for a patrol car, leaving his colleague Detective Sergeant Raymond Purdy guarding the prisoner. Seconds later the man produced a gun, shot Purdy dead and escaped. The police knew neither who he was nor where he had gone. But they had a clue, provided by Purdy's widow. When her husband's personal possessions were returned to her, she found a small notebook among them which wasn't his. She handed it back to his colleagues, who realized that Purdy must have taken it from the wanted man. The notebook was full of phone numbers. Calling them, detectives learned that Purdy's killer was a German who had spent time in Canada. A palm print had been found on the windowsill where he was cornered, and a copy of it was sent to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They reported that it belonged to Gunther Padola, who had been deported as an undesirable alien, and they also supplied Scotland Yard with his photograph. Then the manager of a South Kensington hotel reported that a Paul Cumet of Montreal had booked in on June 25th, but since July 13th, the day of the shooting, he had not left his room. Shown the photo of Padola, the manager said, "That's Paul Cumet, he's in room 15." Arrested and charged with Purdy's murder, Padola had a novel defense when he appeared at the Old Bailey. His counsel, Mr. Frederick Lawton QC, told the court, "I arise at the very outset of this case, because this case is not a usual case at all. It has one very, very unusual feature. I stand here today, my learned friend by my side, Padola's solicitor in front of me, and the three of us have no idea what his defense is at all. We have no idea whether he wishes to say the witnesses for the prosecution are mistaken, inaccurate, or lying. No idea whether he wishes to say the gun was discharged accidentally. We have no idea whether he wishes to say he was provoked, and we have no information about his past. This is because he has been unable to give us any instructions, unable to tell us because he has lost his memory. And the consequences, members of the jury, of losing his memory are that he is unable to defend himself. Police who arrested him had broken down Padola's door, knocking him over, and he had been taken to hospital apparently semi-conscious. On recovering, he claimed he could remember nothing. The court heard from 4 doctors who thought he was afflicted by amnesia, and 2 who believed he was faking. But the prosecution claimed he had given himself away in a letter written while he was on remand, and Purdy's partner, Detective Sergeant John Sandford, testified that he had seen the shooting. Moreover, the fatal bullet was proved to have been fired from a gun found among Padola's possessions. Nevertheless, Padola told the jury, "I cannot put forward any defense. The reason for this is that I have lost my memory of all these events. I cannot remember the crime. I do not remember the circumstances leading up to the events or to this shooting. I do not know if I did it or whether it was an accident or an act of self-defense. I do not know if at that time I realized the man was in fact a detective. I do not know in fact whether I was provoked in any way. For these reasons I am unable to admit or deny the charge against me." Unimpressed, the jury retired for only 30 minutes before returning to find him guilty, and he was sentenced to death. The Court of Criminal Appeal ruled that loss of memory does not constitute unfitness to plead, and Padola was hanged at Wandsworth Prison on November 5, 1959. He was 30 years at the time of his execution. Padola was buried in the prison graveyard. His execution took place 5 years before the last execution of any criminal, and 6 years before the suspension and later abolition of the death penalty in United Kingdom. Under Britain's 1957 Homicide Act, the only murders for which the death penalty is prescribed or permitted are those committed with firearms or explosives against police or prison officers, in resisting arrest or escaping from custody, in furtherance of theft, or for murder committed a second or subsequent time. Thank you for watching Death Row.